The theory of general relativity is wrong, and I say this because, besides the fact that Einstein aberrates that gravity is not a force, but a curvature of space and time, which is an absolute nonsense, not relative, and attributes geodesics to space and time, which is absolutely illogical, because space does not have a surface, and time does not have a surface either. The experiments that have allegedly confirmed it are extremely illogical, if not downright stupid. I will first refer to the one in which the Nobel laureates, scientists Pound and Rka, used a helium bag and air to demonstrate that gravity produces the change in wavelength. As the emitter of the gamma ray was placed in helium to reduce scattering, and the detector was placed under the helium bag, in air, which in fact does not prove anything else except that refraction, and by no means gravity, produces the shift in wavelength. Gravitation only produces a need to add helium in order to produce a redshift from refraction. Because in the absence of refraction there is no redshift from gravity. It is ridiculous and also outrageous that these so-called scientists received the Nobel Prize for that helium sham experiment, which can be debunked with relative ease as I will show, and that no scientist questioned its validity ever since. Probably because no scientist knows or has not found out that refraction produces a redshift blueshift. Astronomers know of three sources of redshift blueshift: Doppler shifts, gravitational redshifts, and cosmological expansion. And the redshifts they know, with the exception of the Doppler one, are pure pseudoscience. Because they confused the refractional redshift with gravitational redshift. And the last from expansion collapses as general relativity collapses. And this is very easy to prove with just two simple formulas, which clearly show that refraction causes a redshift blueshift. F equals v lambda, and v equals Cn. The frequency of light remains constant during refraction, but the speed of light varies according to the index of refraction. Therefore the wavelength also varies according to the speed of light. If the speed of light increases, then the wavelength will also increase and a refractional redshift will occur. If the speed of light decreases, then the wavelength will also decrease and a refractional blueshift will occur. So the great Harvard scientists, awarded with the great Nobel Prize, confused an effect of refraction with one of gravity. And I don't know if they did it out of ignorance, or with good knowledge, to collect the laurels, money and the Nobel Prize. It is still hard to believe that they could be so stupid and that they added helium to reduce scattering from air, but somehow left the detector in air, as shown in the picture with the experiment, instead of placing both in the same medium of helium to reduce both scattering and refraction. And the very addition of helium should have raised an eyebrow, since Einstein's theory of relativity has nothing to do with helium or other gases. And in fact the experiment should have been done in a vacuum, or in space. But the geniuses from Harvard were too busy drilling holes in the walls of the university and filling them with helium that this did not occur to them. Regardless, their gravitational experiment is actually a refractional one, and its result has nothing to do with gravity, or relativity, but only with refraction. And the fact that in the absence of refraction there is no redshift blueshift caused by the gravitational potential shows that Einstein's theory is simply wrong, and that it was falsified by the very experiment which allegedly confirmed it. The implications of this are enormous, in physics and especially in astronomy, where general relativity is used heavily in the standard cosmological model, which from now on should be called the standard cosmological model. It is now obvious that the measured redshift of stars has absolutely nothing to do with their gravitational potential, but with their gaseous atmosphere that refracts the light in space, which leads to the increase of speed and of the wavelength, which is a refractional redshift and not a gravitational one. And, since all galaxies are made of stars, that is why all galaxies appear redshifted. In conclusion, mainstream scientists falsely and erroneously attribute to gravity effects of refraction, such as bending light and changing wavelength. while de facto using refraction in most of their so-called gravitational experiments, and foolishly confusing the effects of refraction with those of gravitation.